Residents all around Las Vegas have reported seeing mysterious lights. Some of the first reports came in on the 1st of March, when people posted photographs and videos of large balls of lights in the sky, noting that whatever these lights belonged to, they were big, and that they stayed in a strict V formation. This caused others to say that these lights may have been part of one craft, further saying that if this was the case, this single object would have been huge. The lights were reported by people on different sides of Sin City on Monday the 1st of March, with local residents saying the lights appeared at around 7:30 PM. It soon started to trend on social media, with users wanting to know what the lights were. Due to Nellis Air Force Base being close, some suggested that they may have been flares, but this doesn't match up with eyewitness testimonies. One man who said he works with the Department of Homeland Security told several media outlets that the lights bear no resemblance to the military flares that he's experienced in the past, with others coming forward and saying that the lights didn't act like typical military flares, as they were very stationary and didn't move around like a normal flare does. After people started to demand answers for what was seen above Las Vegas, the Federal Aviation Administration did respond to those asking questions, and said that the lights from the Las Vegas Valley were flares from the NW military ranges. One person said the following: "On Monday, me and my wife looked up directly above downtown Las Vegas and saw multiple lights. We weren't the only ones who saw these, as I soon reached out to a friend and they said they'd seen the same thing. These glowing orbs were hovering in a perfect formation for what I would say was around 5 minutes. When I spoke to my friend who had also seen these lights, we both found it interesting how remarkably similar they were to the famous Phoenix lights. I for one don't think these were flares. I've observed military flares in the past, and these lights didn't drift or emit any smoke." Not everyone bought this answer though, and said that various V-shaped UFOs have been observed in the past, and when questioned about it, officials normally blame the lights on things like flares. This soon created an interesting discussion, where people compared these lights to similar looking lights that have been reported in the past. Those who study and investigate UFOs have said these shaped crafts are some of the most commonly shaped UFOs, and that most researchers agree that these lights are not individual objects, but rather belong to one large craft. There's still ongoing discussions within these groups as to whether V-shaped crafts and the triangle-shaped crafts are the same, with some amateur researchers saying that V-shaped crafts are more slender and have lights running up the entire craft, while the triangle UFO seems to have 3 distinctive lights which are usually white or red in colour. Another question that often comes up is, who do these crafts belong to? Those who have studied this topic have said there's an argument for both sides, with some saying that these belong to us and they're part of a top secret program. Interestingly, black triangles aren't anything new. Black triangle UFOs are a type of craft that have been seen in our skies for years now, and although we have various photographs and videos of them, there's still many unanswered questions. For example, how are they able to travel at the speeds they do? How are they able to use camouflage tech? And how can they hover motionless in one area without making a sound? It's these questions that have led some to think they don't belong to us. After all, we currently don't have any aircrafts that's able to match what these crafts do. These black triangles are hundreds of years more advanced than our current tech. So where did these things come from? And how are they able to achieve what they do? At this moment in time, no military has come forward to claim it's them who's behind these sightings, but most UFO researchers think these black triangles are part of a secret program, and this is their latest creation. However, sightings and encounters have gone against this, saying that these crafts have been observed in our skies for decades. In fact, there's even photographs of these triangles that were taken back in 1945, with pilots from these times coming forward and detailing their strange encounters with strange triangular-shaped crafts. Not only does this mean that these crafts are at least 80 years old, but it also means that if they belong to us, our governments were using advanced tech in a time when the rest of the world had basic aircrafts. How did we have this type of tech during a time when battles were taking place using basic aeroplanes? As mentioned, it's one of the reasons that some UFO researchers believe these crafts don't belong to us. In fact, even military officials have come forward and detailed their encounters with them, demanding an answer for what they encountered. Many of these eyewitnesses would say these triangle-shaped crafts seem interested in their planes. Then when they tried to get closer, the crafts would vanish within seconds, easily being much faster than the planes during those times. Interestingly, this led to these objects being given the name of Foo Fighters. As mentioned earlier, commercial airline pilots have also detailed their strange encounters with these large triangular-shaped crafts, with one pilot saying that he was flying above Florida when he saw one of these crafts fly past him at speeds exceeding 4,000 miles per hour. He said that he watched as this thing covered the curvature of the Earth within a matter of seconds. He said that he'd never seen anything so quick in his life. Ancient Egypt is home to the pharaohs and the pyramids. It was the setting of many mathematical, medical and agricultural advances, and in the modern day is a historical place of enormous intrigue and fascination. One structure that sometimes gets overlooked due to being next to the Great Pyramids is that of the Great Sphinx. The Great Sphinx of Giza, commonly known as the Sphinx, is a grand limescale structure in the Golden Giza Desert of Egypt. The statue is of a reclining sphinx, a mythical creature that combines the head of a human with the body of a lion. The Sphinx is seen as a dangerous, merciless creature in Greek mythology. In Egyptian mythology, however, the Sphinx is a slightly less cruel creature. Unlike the Greek Sphinx, the Egyptian one is firstly male, and secondly is described as more benevolent than the Greek Sphinx. However, they are both thought to be extremely strong, and guarded the entrance to temples in ancient times. Today the Sphinx is a tourist attraction more than anything. Such an incredible architectural feat naturally draws a lot of attention, and historians and researchers have spent years delving into the history of the Sphinx. Naturally, this leaves various unanswered questions. The first modern archaeological dig of the Sphinx was undertaken in 1817, but it was some time before that it had been visited and captured in painting. Around 1798, French painter Vivens Denon painted a picture of the Sphinx, but when it was finished, critics noticed something a little strange. Denon had painted a man being pulled out of the head of the Sphinx. Two figures were helping a third one out of the head of the statue, which had been painted side on. Now you may wonder whether this was simply a matter of imagination. Perhaps Denon had wanted to add something a little different to the painting, but of course nobody knows for sure, as it was the 18th century and the beauty of both aviation and drone imagery had not quite yet been invented. However, in the 1920s aerial photography had become possible, and lo and behold what appeared on the Sphinx's head, a hole big enough for a man to fit through. Naturally, this made Denon's painting all the more interesting. It appeared he'd actually seen people climbing out of the Sphinx, which begged the question who was in the Sphinx, and what were they doing? Not a lot is known about the history of the Sphinx, or at least there isn't a lot of definitive knowledge, but researchers have noticed that the head of the Sphinx is made from different materials to the rest of the statue. The head appears to be made out of a man-made substance rather than limestone, hence the darkness of the stone of the head compared to the body. Furthermore, the Sphinx's head has hardly eroded, and appears smoother than its body. This again points to the idea that the head was somehow interfered with, maybe long before any Western peoples ever knew of its existence. But this still doesn't answer the question of why those men were in the head of the Sphinx. One thing that is known is that restoration work has been done on the Great Sphinx. Something to note though is that at the time, and as mentioned by Tour Egypt, systematic research on the water table pollution and on the properties of the stone and mortar were undertaken. They note though that for some unknown reason these discoveries were not applied when the restoration work was being carried out. It's been theorized that the hole in the head of the Sphinx actually led to an underground chamber, which then joined up to more underground chambers beneath the Great Pyramids. This secret city, as it was dubbed by the mainstream media, was allegedly found in March of 1935. Newspapers even covered the topic, and it was speculated that this discovery would have gone down in history as being one of the greatest. However, not one Egyptologist or researcher commented on the findings. It was almost as if every researcher forgot about these initial discoveries. There was complete silence from those studying and working alongside these structures. Back in 1987, a Japanese research team from Tokyo's Waseda University began an extensive underground survey of the regions surrounding the Great Sphinx, utilizing groundbreaking technology at the time, known as the electromagnetic sounding survey radar. In an attempt to better image the sunken regions of the Sphinx statue, under the direction of lead researcher Sakju Yoshimura, the team got some of the most accurate 3D rendering images of the statue ever taken, with a strange revelation that no one had seen coming. For some unknown reason, the Japanese survey team discovered an extensive system of cavities and tunnels inside and underneath the Great Sphinx that were believed to have been previously undiscovered. According to the team, south of the Sphinx was a hollow tunnel believed to have been 2.5 meters wide and 3 meters tall, connecting two chambers, a small and a large chamber that appears to connect to additional tunnels that stretch north, south and southeast of the Sphinx's direction. Portions of shafts were found in unconnected areas beneath the Sphinx, with additional cavities found inside the structure of the Sphinx, and beneath the body of the Sphinx unconnected to the tunnels beneath the monolith. None of these findings have been pursued after the survey, with many denying the existence of the tunnels and shafts, despite the mountains of clear imaging evidence gathered underneath the direction of lead researchers. The frustrating thing about this is that there's no conclusion to the mysterious hole seen in the Sphinx's head. We know it was there as we have photographs and paintings, but as of right now only theories can be put forward for why it was sealed up. The ancient Egyptians have filled history with spectacular cultural offerings, from the pharaohs to the pyramids to the Great Sphinx itself. When we as a race discover something that's old, it's only natural to begin to wonder whether there is a little more to these incredible pieces of history than the accepted truths. Who knows what really lurks in the mysterious ancient catacombs beneath the Sphinx? Perhaps one day we might find out. Until that time though, we can only put forward our theories as to why these chambers have been kept a secret from the public. So what do you make of these ancient Egyptian discoveries? Why do you think the hole in the Sphinx's head was sealed up? What do you think is inside there? Also, what do you make of the ancient chambers said to be lying beneath the Sphinx and pyramids? And why do you think they're keeping us in the dark about these discoveries? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.